Welcome back to another episode with Cancer Called. Today I have with me Jen.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, Jen.
Yeah.
I met Jen on the Stars show that we were on. The years run together, Jen. That was 2024, right?
It was. It
Because it's just
was
like boom, 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 right?
already a
Ever
year
since
ago.
COVID, it's like pew,
I
just flies, right?
know. It does.
Jen was on that show with us where we discussed with, guess that would have been six other women plus myself, or was it seven other
It
women plus
was
myself?
six plus us.
Six plus
So
us,
eight total.
eight total.
Yeah, yeah.
We talked about our experiences with cancer, all different types of cancer. As you know, most of you that watch me, I had breast cancer the first time, and my second bout with cancer is stage 4, which I'm currently battling and in remission because God is good. Jen, why don't you tell us about what type of cancer you battled
Mhm.
and beat?
Yeah, so my cancer is thyroid cancer. I had stage 2 papillary carcinoma, which is a fancy way of saying the cancer was in my thyroid, which is right in the middle of your neck. And then it was also in my lymph nodes, which is not a fun place for it to be.
Absolutely not. I know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so that is what I battled, and I should back up because in 2023 is when I was diagnosed with it, and it was just kind of a freak accident that led to the diagnosis. So it was kind of, it was a weird circumstances that happened, but
Yeah. And I
they
think
all
what was
turned.
crazy about it is how you found out about it. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I was working for 12 years in healthcare at two very large, well-known healthcare companies here in the Valley,
Yep.
and one of them I was working for at the time, working from home. And part of my job was I had to get up early in the morning, preset my computer. So I was literally just rolling out of bed one day, and I fell out of bed and broke two ribs. I still went into work because in healthcare you show up, right? So I still went
You
into
better.
work. Exactly. So I still went into work. I couldn't breathe. My boss is yelling at me, and I was like, "This is not what I signed up for." So I took the rest of the day on unscheduled PTO. Went and got checked out, and they said, "Yes, you have two broken ribs." And I was like, "Okay, well, that sounds like I may need some time to heal from that because talking on a headset for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
while trying to heal your rib cage does not compete." So I said, all right, we're going to take a break from work and heal our body.
Right.
So while doing that, I started doing iron infusions because my iron was low, started doing regular blood work. I got my vision checked and all of that. And nothing was adding up to just it being broken ribs. So the doctors kept looking and kept looking. And I thank them to this day for continuing to research and figuring out, why is your body not healing? Why is it regressing?
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually I went in to redo or extend my FMLA paperwork. It was just an administrative appointment.
Yeah.
And the doctor looked at me and she goes, "How long has your neck been swollen on one side and immobile?" And I was like, "Well, since I fell and broke my ribs."
Yeah. Which has nothing to do with your neck.
That's what she said. She goes, "Well, the
That's
two
crazy.
are not connected normally." And so that's what led us to do the ultrasound to figure it out. And then that's when we discovered there was a very large tumor growing right on the side of my thyroid. So that was in spring of 2023. By fall, we got the diagnosis after the biopsy that it needed surgery. So they went in and removed everything. So yeah.
And you know what's crazy to me, Jen, is the fact that, like I said, it had nothing to do with your neck, your ribs.
Yeah.
You had no pain or no other
Mm-mm.
issue with your neck that would have led you to even go to the doctor to check your neck.
Yep.
They established that it was stage 2,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
it was in your lymph nodes, so
Yeah.
in your lymphatic system.
Yeah.
Like, what did that do for your mental now that you know what
Right.
that can do with cancer being in your lymphatic system, especially like, knowing me and other people that you've
Oh
met
yeah.
with cancer? What did that do for your mental?
It was really hard to comprehend,
Yeah.
especially as a woman, because I was 38 years old at the time. So,
Oh, we were same age. Yeah,
right?
I didn't realize that.
So I was mentally prepared for menopause. I was like, okay, here she comes. I'm going to tackle this menopause thing. That's going to be my big event coming up,
Mm-hmm.
approaching 40. Cancer was not in my purview. So when they told me that's what was contributing to the hormonal influx, the weight gain, the imbalance, and all of the stress and everything, I was like, I was almost relieved in a way because I
Mm-hmm.
had an answer that I could react to. And so
Mm-hmm.
it didn't make it easy to go through, but it made it simpler to process. I was like, okay, now that I know what this is and what's causing it,
Right.
I know what battle to fight. And
You know
so
what to
for me,
attack. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So that's what shifted for me when I got the diagnosis, because I was, just waiting for to hear, oh no, we don't know what it is, because that was the diagnosis for 6 months beforehand. Was, oh, we don't know, we're going to keep looking. So when we
Yeah.
finally got that, okay, this is what it is. It was almost, and this is going to sound weird to anyone who doesn't have our diagnosis,
Right.
but it was almost like a relief because the
Mm.
not knowing was over. And so now I knew what the next step was going to be. So it
Yeah,
was,
that's kind of deep when you say that though. Like
yeah.
the not knowing, the
Yeah.
not knowing was over, even though you're starting another part of your journey.
Right.
I think some people don't understand that don't have cancer
Right.
when we say the not knowing was over, because people are like, you have cancer, like you have to deal with that
Yeah.
now. But it's like, at least we know again what to attack. If I
Exactly.
know what to attack, I can then change my mentality so that I
Yes.
can focus or refocus on what best way to deal with that.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
almost like when I deal with the stage 4 side of it, which
Mm-hmm.
I'll be doing more videos on,
Good.
the mental side of living with stage 4 and
Mm-hmm.
looking as if I don't have
Right.
cancer. Um, how you deal with that on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
right? Because it is really mental more so
It
than
is.
physical.
Yeah.
And knowing that I have it, I have to figure out a plan on how to deal with it. And so that kind of
Yeah.
reminds me, talking to you with, okay, now I know what it is. If I don't know what it is, I'm just walking around in a daze. Like,
Right.
I guess I'm
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm sick with, but I guess I'm just sick.
And I love that you're going to speak to that about the misconception. If I don't look sick, I'm not sick. And that
Mm-hmm.
is a perception that a lot of people that don't have our diagnosis hold. And that's understandable. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
fight that they have to fight. But
Right.
I love that you're addressing that, because I think there needs to be more visibility on that. That just because you don't look a certain way doesn't mean it's something I'm not facing every day. And I think that's really brave of you to put
Thanks,
that out
Jen.
there too. I think a lot of people need to hear that conversation.
I'm
So,
definitely
yeah,
trying. It's not
absolutely.
it's not easy,
Yeah.
especially on gloomy days.
Yes, I know. Trust me, I know.
But we're still smiling and we're laughing.
That's right.
So that's
You
good.
have to,
Yeah,
that's what I always say. I'm like, you can never let anything take your joy. Your joy is not a diagnosis. It's not a mental state.
I
It's a
agree.
choice you make on a daily basis. You can hold on to joy, or you can let her go. And
Yeah.
I choose to hold on to it because it's something that cancer can't take from me.
Good for you.
It can
Yes.
settle it down a little bit, but I can choose to pick it up at any time. And
Yeah.
I love to spread that to other people, especially those with our diagnosis, because we need it.
I love
We need
that.
it.
And that's why I need people like you in my circle. That's
Absolutely.
why we need more people like this on the show,
That's right.
right? We need to
That's
find more
right.
people like this and bring them on the show.
We
Where
do.
are they?
Yes.
How do
So
I get people to come
if
to the
you know
show?
anyone like this,
Yeah, bring them to the daggone
tag them in
show.
the comments.
Yeah. I don't know. Tell them to call you or something and then call me. Like, I don't
DM
know.
me, DM her, like tag
Yeah.
them in the comments below.
We
We
got to
should do a
figure that
TikTok
out.
live, or we should do a live one time.
I
Just
need to start doing
that
lives.
would be super fun.
You have to teach me how to do that.
It's a blast. It's an absolute
Okay, we're
blast.
going to do that.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun.
So, after you got to the point where they gave you the diagnosis,
Yeah.
Continue on that journey for me. Did you have to do radiation, chemo? Did they just take it out? What was the plan?
So our initial plan, because I heard this a lot, was, oh, thyroid cancer is the easiest cancer to get, right?
Cancer, folks.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
care
what
what
I
anybody
said.
tell you. Cancer is cancer. It can take you up out of here.
That's what I said. I said comparison is the worst cancer
They kill me with
of
that.
anything, right? So I was like, I don't ever compare.
No pun intended.
Yeah. So my journey was shorter, not necessarily easier, right, than
Yeah.
a lot of other people's. So mine was, I went in for what was supposed to be an outpatient procedure. They were just going to go in, take the thyroid out, which I have my little pirate scar now, which I
Yeah.
love.
The sisters with
Right?
that.
Yes. So mine is a little, mine looks like a little pirate smirk, and I absolutely love it. But they went in, they did the surgery. It was
Mm.
supposed to be outpatient. So I only packed for an overnight stay. And when I came out of the surgery, my levels were so low, they took me into the ICU for 11 days. So that was 10 extra days of intensive care and recovery that we didn't plan on as a family. And I'm a single mom. I have a toddler and a teenager.
Yeah.
And so for them to watch their mom go from healthy to broken ribs to this to now it's getting worse, it was a lot to process.
What triggered that? What triggered the ICU?
So my calcium tanked to where I could not retain calcium because they took my parathyroid as well. So we're going to get super technical.
Ooh, wait, this is why I do this though, because this is educating people, right?
It is. And it's something that folks need to be aware of that can happen because especially in the thyroid community, we love to gloss over it.
Yeah.
Because it's a livable diagnosis. It's not necessarily highly terminal. So it's something that requires adjustments in your entire life for the rest of your life. And that's something that I'm learning in my journey in here.
Yeah, I'm learning stuff right now myself. I don't have my thyroid, but I didn't realize it could put me in the ICU.
Yep. Yes.
Heck.
So I ended up in the ICU for 11 days. My care team was incredible and amazing. And we adjusted things on the fly to figure out what's going to work, what doesn't, because the playbook literally went out the window. And so I had the surgeon team and everybody was in there on a daily basis trying to figure out why is your body not reacting the way it's supposed to. And so it took us about 11 days of figuring out what's going to work, what's not. And it was scary. It was really, really scary at a certain points. But we eventually got to stabilization, which was our goal. I was able to go home after 11 days, which I was so ready to do that.
Absolutely.
And then 90 days later, not even 90 days later, I had to go back to do the radioactive iodine,
Okay.
where you literally become radioactive.
I had a girlfriend that did that.
Yes.
She was on my very first episode on YouTube.
So I had
Shout out to Heather.
So I had to go back to the hospital, same hospital, and drink the radioactive iodine.
Yep.
They have it in a pill, but I wasn't a candidate for that because my body didn't absorb things well.
You had to drink it. She
I
got a
had to do it.
pill. Heather got a pill. I didn't know you had to
I
drink.
did.
You could drink it?
It was a lead.
Don't tell me you tasted it.
We called it the radioactive Slurpee.
Oh gosh.
It was literally like a radioactive Slurpee cup. It looked like a Slurpee cup. It was lead lined, lead straw, like a Slurpee cup, like a sippy cup, and it didn't taste funky at all. It was just normal. And the wonderful tech came in.
Did they put it in anything like a icy or?
It didn't taste bad, actually. It wasn't that bad. I was prepared.
I was prepared. Did I call my guest crazy?
Because the lady, the sweet tech, and I love my nuke techs, right? I love my nuclear techs because I was a radiology geek for 10 years of my 12 years in healthcare. So I love radiology. It is my soft spot. And so when I had to do all these procedures and texts, I'm like, oh, I'm home. Like I know my radiology folks. That's my
goodness. I'm like, this is mind blowing.
So I go in and she gives me this long speech of whatever you do not spill this. Don't spit it out. Don't sneeze. Don't cough. She goes, this is radioactive liquid. Do not spill it. And I was like, okay, I got you. So she goes, And I asked her, I said, how long do I have to drink this? Because it's not a lot. It's just a little bit of fluid. And she goes, the faster you get it done, the faster it's out of, and I was like, okay. She goes, but don't rush, just get it down. And I was like, okay, no worries. So yeah, it wasn't that
See,
bad.
God
though.
knows which cancer to give people.
Yes.
Because if she would have told that to me, Jen, let's just be honest. You
Yes.
know me enough to know
Yes.
I would have been like, ma'am, I'm going to need a Slurpee or I don't know, some type of lemonade or something. What do you mean? Don't spit it out. Don't sneeze. Don't put it back down.
Yep.
Like, ma'am, no, absolutely not.
She goes, don't wipe your mouth, like nothing, just, and then we had to do.
Did she stand in there with you? She left the room.
She prepped everything, and then she has to step out because it's radioactive. So she steps out of the room, and then you have to
what are they giving us?
Signal them in a nonverbal way that you're done. And so for me, for the place that I was at, I had a call button. So she said, when you're done, just hit the call button, which again was wrapped in protective coating. Yeah. And she goes, just hit the call button. And then when you're done, we have a direct line out of the building for you to go down into your vehicle. And then you exit the parking lot.
Jen, why was this in the Star Show? What the heck? And why did you wait so long to tell me? You was waiting for the show.
I was.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to the show.
I was planting it at
you
the right.
You were definitely waiting for the show. Everybody enter Jen.
Hello.
This is crazy. I have never heard this in my life.
Yeah.
The pill, I thought the pill was extreme.
Well, it's the same. Once you get it down, it's the same process.
But you're just swallowing the pill, and then she had told me you go to the room and you got to stay in the room for like a week or whatever.
Yep, you got to do 4 days of isolation.
Okay, but
which as a single mom, you're like,
swallow it, don't spit it, don't sneeze. Click the button. You better wave, but don't wave too big because it's radioactive. Like, girl, get out of here. I'm not drinking this. What are you giving me?
It was, well, I was like, I want to make sure that we kill it all, that we get it all. So I was
I love how we're laughing through this. This is crazy.
But this is what you have to go through.
This is what we go through.
Yeah, this is what we go through.
So people don't realize this is what we go through.
And my sweet father, he was the one that drove me because they're like, oh, you might want to take an Uber. And I was like, no. I'm not.
But they don't want you around people. So how are you going to take an Uber?
That was literally the only resource they had was like, oh, you can get into a ride share. Just let them know that,
I'm radioactive.
And I'm like, how am I going to get into some dude's Uber radioactive to drive me? And I was 65 miles from where my home was.
No.
And I was like, that's like an hour drive. No.
Wouldn't they just turn you down?
Exactly. I was like, I don't got that big of a tip.
You're gonna be like, no, thank you. 1 star. They rate us.
Exactly.
1 star.
Like, no,
absolutely not.
So no, I did the 4 days in isolation and all of that, and then thankfully that was the last big treatment that I had to do was the isolation, and then we did a round of chemo just to make sure that we killed everything that showed up on the scan after the radiation, but we only had to do a short form of chemo, and then that was it. So
just 1 round.
Exactly.
And you've been in remission ever since.
I've been cancer-free. We got the cancer-free diagnosis this January. So I was so happy. And now it's just maintenance. So
we love that.
Yes. So now it's maintenance. And now, because for my type of cancer, it can come back if if I go off the medication, if I have high stress, high iodine diet. So there's a lot of different danger factors that I have to go in. But yeah, thankfully we're doing well.
Good.
I know my parameters now. I know what what things to look for.
Good.
So
good. I want to thank you for educating me on that because not just the radiation, just all of it, because I realized, like I said, cancer is cancer. Right. I should put that on a shirt.
I do. I love that.
We should put that on a shirt.
Yes.
Cancer is cancer. But anyway, educating not just me, but, the people, because, I don't have my thyroid. Right. It wasn't cancerous. I just had thyroid issues most of my adult life. And it got to the point where they were like, yeah, it's got to go. Mm-hmm. It's causing you too many physical issues, health issues on top of cancer, but I never knew all those different things and how it can really impact your body
Yeah.
and affect your body in a way that could put you in ICU.
Yeah, I think as women, we needed better education when we're in our development years
Absolutely.
about how big of a role your pituitary and your thyroid play in your hormones and
Yeah,
your
that's
mental
another one I
state.
learned about. Yeah, that
Yeah,
pituitary is no joke.
it isn't. And I didn't know any of this. And I was
It's right
38.
behind here, folks, in case you want
It
to look
is.
it up.
It is. And I was 38 years old doing self education in the waiting room while I was waiting to get seen because I didn't know any of this. I was just always told, oh, if you're hormonal, you go on birth control and that should take care of it.
Right.
But when it doesn't, and you have to continually, go, okay, why am I still not feeling this way? Why am I not right? Why am I anemic for my entire life? Like
Mm,
all these things, they don't add up unless you do the math. And
right.
so it's one of those things where you have to really be self-focused and self-driven to say, I'm not okay and I want to be okay.
Right.
What does okay look for me? And that's what I advocate now for women is address your health, both mental, physical, financial, emotional, spiritual health before you can address anything else in your life. Because if you don't know who you are, what you look like, you can't affect your world around you.
That is so
So
true.
that's
That is so
that's what I
true.
do now.
That kind of leads us into really what you do now. And you have always come across to me as someone that wants to empower women,
Thank you.
right?
Yeah.
Um, you said it in the show that we were in, the discussions that you and I have had, you know, where we live, when we've met for tea and coffee. I'm a tea head. Um,
I'm a coffee girl.
see, tea and coffee, right? The discussions that we have when we've met, and just when we check in on each other and the things that you tell me that you're doing, I do see you as an entrepreneur and someone that you're always striving to make people better, specifically women. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing as an entrepreneur and how you empower women?
Yeah. So, and I appreciate that, and thank you. And I'm
Absolutely.
and
You're
I'm
welcome.
I'm a heart led entrepreneur, right? So I always lead with my heart, and my heart is for women, and especially single moms or women going through hard transitions.
We need that, Jen. Yeah.
Yes, because as a single mom going through a hard transition with the cancer, I had to go through treatments and then go do laundry the same day. I didn't have that safety net or that network that I could really draw from. I had people in my life that were able to help my kids while we were going through that in a
Mm-hmm.
logistical way. But the day to day and the financial fallout from cancer was on me. And so realizing there was such a need for that, and that just broke my heart because I'm like, I am fortunate to be able to have resources, and I met so many women that don't.
They don't. Yeah.
And so
It's
that's
a
what
real thing.
it is. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that we don't like to talk about because we love to hear about the resources that are available or the big foundations that, donate millions here and there. And then regular everyday people, we don't see that in
Mm-hmm.
our checkbook, in our in our pocketbook, in our, it's like that's great. I'm glad that they're able to affect that large scale, but I'm still here. I'm still struggling. Who's going to represent me and who's going to help me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really bore my first podcast was Probably Made for More. That's the one that I talked about in our Stars show.
Right.
And I loved it. I loved doing Probably Made for More. And it was for faith-based and business-minded women who share transitional stories. And I loved doing it at the time. It was a great little capsule. And it bore my new project and my new ministry that we're going to be doing is a women-owned, women-focused consultancy. It's called Prodigal Wells, and it pulls from both those biblical stories of the prodigal son story of redemption and then the woman of the well story where she goes and she takes her very colorful past
Yeah.
and then proclaims the gospel and the good news and stuff. So it's going to be for women that are going through hardship or transitions and they want a clear path forward.
Nice.
And I'm excited because we're just getting started and already the feedback is this is exactly what I've been looking for. And it's something that I've been passionate about. And I actually got the name and the idea while I was going through the treatment in 2023. And so now I'm healthy enough that I can actually just pour into it and give back and help other women that are
I
going through
love
hard
that.
times.
Hey, that's
So
what it's about, Jen.
thank you.
I think you see that with me. I see that with
Mm-hmm.
you, that
Yeah.
you take your experience, not just with cancer, but life
Mm-hmm.
in general, and you feed that back into the population, into the people, and the people that want it specifically,
Yeah.
right? Because you are doing God's work. I
Yeah.
say it all the time. I said it in the show.
Yeah.
You were there and you heard what I
I did.
said, right? And
I
I'll
did.
keep saying it until He gives it to me. If you
That's
give me
right.
30 years, I'll continue to do your work,
Yeah.
right? We are doing God's work right now.
Yes.
You are doing God's work in everything that you do. And I appreciate you for helping me do God's work by being
Absolutely.
on the show,
Thank you.
and I want to keep watching you do what you do.
Mhm.
So, in what you're doing with that
Mhm.
podcast and, you know, transitioning that into a ministry,
Yeah,
are you also continuing your entrepreneurship where you're helping building brands and businesses for
I
women as
am.
well? Can you
I
talk a little
am.
bit more about that?
Yeah, so I have a consultancy. It's called Gorgeous Rebels.
Gorgeous Rebels. Okay.
And that is not faith based. It is a broader scale.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we come in and we maintain the brand voice for anyone that has a business that may be brick and mortar, it may be social media, it may
Okay.
be online. We work with everybody. And I have a team of a couple of people that help me. And we come in, we take a look at what are your goals, where are you headed, and how can we facilitate that? So we don't take over your business, we just help guide you forward.
Okay.
And that way we eliminate all of the congestion. Because a lot of times, as female business owners, we think we are the person that has to do it all. And
Yeah.
then,
Even in corporate America.
and then
I don't miss that, by the way.
in that we become the bottleneck, right? We
Yeah.
become the roadblock ourselves. And so we help come alongside you with your brand voice and your own personal goals. And we say, let's remove you
Yeah.
out of that bottleneck. And then let's see how we can continue to grow you. And so that's what I do on the business side of it. And I love it. And it's a great time. And we've helped 6 owners already. So
Nice. I
yeah.
love that. And you're always smiling when you tell me about it. So you must enjoy it.
I love it. I'm the strategist. So I'm the one that sees the different, I'm like the, what is it, that movie with Matt Damon where he sees all the numbers moving around?
Don't give
Goodwill
me that
Hunting or
line.
something like that. But he's,
Look,
the
now I'm
one
thinking
where
about it.
I think it's Goodwill Hunting
Oh, okay.
where he's like moving all the pieces around and all
Yeah.
that. I'm like, that's what I do. I'm the one that takes a look at the big,
Strategist. Yeah.
yeah, and then I have people that come in with the operations and the marketing and all of that, and then we come alongside you whenever your budget or goals are. Then we match that, and then we just help facilitate your growth. So
Sounds good. So
yeah.
how do they find Gorgeous Rebels?
They're going to be able to find us on our website, gorgeousrebels.com. It's
Okay.
not open yet. We are still going through the process of getting that approved. But
Okay.
in the meantime, just DM me. We do a lot of cold outreach. I absolutely love doing that because I'm a relational builder. So I love the relationship building side of it and
Nice.
getting to know people and finding out what makes their business tick. Why are they excited about it? Where are they headed? And what is their offer? And I love having those conversations. So
Yep.
yeah.
I tell you what, Jen, you're definitely a woman on the move.
I am.
She's never still, folks. I can tell you that. I just think it's just really, really cool, all the things that you're doing,
Thank you.
the journey that you've been on, just the short amount of time that I've known you, since last year. I think we're coming up on a year of knowing each other
I think
now,
so.
around August, July,
I
July.
think we're just about at our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, so
We
that's
should
pretty
go to
cool.
Olive Garden.
I was gonna say, look at all that we've done though in just a
We have.
year of being on the show, and I think there's many,
Yeah.
many more things that we'll do, and the other ladies, some of the ladies we
Yes.
still talk to and we follow. So I'm
Yes.
really, really excited about that. Before we close this episode, Is there anything that you want to tell our viewers? Any advice you want to give our viewers?
Oh gosh.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I know I'm really good at listening and giving like strategy advice. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Or anything you just want to say.
I just want to say, first, I want to say thank you for having me on. This
Absolutely.
is
You're
an
welcome.
absolute privilege to be on your show. And I mean
Oh, that's
that
so sweet.
because you're doing really important work.
Thank you.
And I know it's hard to see the overall picture and impact when you're not in front of the audience, but you are making an impact. So thank you
Thank you. I
for doing
appreciate
this.
that. That means a
Absolutely.
lot.
Yes.
Some days
Yeah.
you don't see the needle move, so you go, what the heck?
Yes. That's right. No, I just want to encourage people to keep walking in your purpose, whatever it looks like for you. That cancer really, or comparison really is the worst cancer of all. So don't compare your journey to somebody else's, help them walk theirs. So just come alongside each other. There's more growth when we're together. So find the people that you vibe with and then continue to grow and grow that community. So that's what we're doing, tea and coffee.
I love that. Tea and coffee. Maybe we should put that on the shirt.
That should be our title.
Cancer is cancer.
I told you
tea
I'm a
and
strategist. I'm never not working.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you'll be back.
Yes.
You
please.
know I'll be here.
Yes.
I hope to keep doing this and it grows and it grows and it grows. So I can't wait for the next episode. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us, on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. And always go to cancercall.com. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.